Hello, I'm Jack Faust, and this is my Honors Biology Final Project video. The 4 claims that I made for the concepts I learned in biology this year are: living things cannot be composed of non-living parts, characteristics of species over time change due to process of natural selection, that there is a difference between plant cells and animal cells, and that the cell cycle is a life cycle of a eukaryotic cell. Claim number 1 states that living things cannot fully be composed of non-living parts. This statement is true based on the evidence that I've given you. Both notes state basically how cells make up every single living organism in the body of each living thing, and that non-living parts cannot perform functions without cells. Basically meaning that non-living parts might be in some living things, but cannot fully take over a living thing's body because non-living things can't do any function. Cells is what every organism consists of. Without cells, there'd be no humans, animals, or plants, because every part of our body consists of cells. Even my chest hair, which I don't really have to be honest, is a living part of it because it grows. It has a function. Everything in my body has a function and has cells. Without cells, our body cannot function the way it's supposed to. Non-living things can't perform function because it's not living. It doesn't have any of the organisms that can produce that stuff. And that's why non-living things cannot function in your body. The connections for claim 1 are all living things are made of cells, and that the cell is a unit of structure and function in living things. Claim number 2 states that the characteristics of species over time change due to the process of natural selection. This means that evolution over time makes species change in different ways. So like for humans, we changed from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens with a bunch of other steps in between over time. And these notes give this evidence, especially on page 2 with this summary of Darwin's theory. When I start to think of evolution, my mind starts to drift off to, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, King Kong, Godzilla, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, things that really matter towards evolution. Except they don't. The truth is that evolution isn't about making little apes talk, because that's just what humans are. We've turned into that because of evolution. You see, evolution actually has to do with something called natural selection. Natural selection is basically how we evolve over time. Basically, when the world gets more populated or when our environment gets more dangerous, genetically we start to evolve more so we're more stable in that environment. Claim 2's connections is definitely to, of course, world history 1's teachings from Homo erectus to Neanderthal to Homo sapien, all that, Lucy, and then of course pop culture's impact on evolution with movies, songs, all that. I think it's really just made evolution more of a popular subject because of it. My 3rd claim is actually very simple. It just shows the difference between animal cells and plant cells. And the evidence here shows different types of cells and how they differ, and the diagrams are what purely show here the difference of what they look like and the different things they have, like how a plant cell has cell walls and animal cells have centrioles, and so forth and so forth. When it comes to the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell, there's not much of it. But if I put a plant cell on the screen here, you can tell that a plant cell has a cell wall and chloroplast, which an animal cell doesn't. And if I put an animal cell on the screen here, the animal cell has centrioles, which a plant cell doesn't. And that's just the minor differences between them. Wait a second, I gotta throw this away. Get that out of here. Anyways, there's not much of a difference between them. The connection with claim 3 has to be prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, the difference between them, and flubber. Come on. Is he a plant or animal cell? I have no idea. What cells does he have? So my 4th claim is the cell cycle is a life cycle of a eukaryotic cell. Basically, it's showing that a eukaryotic cell has a life cycle, and its life cycle is called the cell cycle, where a cell starts out and goes through a bunch of phases and then duplicates into 2 cells. And on the labs here, it shows how in each phase of this cycle is it takes time to do that, and this really gives you more evidence about how these two are linked. Now, in this cycle, as it's eukaryotic, it includes the G1 phase, the S phase, the G2 phase, and the M phase. These 4 phases are what makes up the life cycle itself. And the reason why it's a eukaryotic cell and not prokaryotic cell is because a eukaryotic cell has a nucleus, and a prokaryotic cell does not, and only a nucleus can go through a life cycle. The thing that is really connected to claim 4 has to be cancer, as cancer can be caused if there's problems in interface. Thanks for watching. Bye.